Hey, I'm Rachel, and today I have a fun project ahead of me. I've been wanting to do this for basically 4 years since we moved into our house. We have some bookshelves that flank the fireplace, TV, in our living room, and they were just really cheaply done. And they've bugged me. They're like hard to dust, all those things. So I'm just going to rip down some plywood, add some trim, paint them to match, and hopefully just make the space look a lot nicer. So you can see I have one of these off the shelf and they were just so poorly done. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up, but just they weren't sanded at all. Like it wasn't even painted like as much as you need to. And it was just like such a poor job. So I think this is going to look a lot nicer. So let's get to it. For this project, I picked up a couple new toys from Lowe's. You can see it's a DeWalt circular saw, and then I got a couple Kreg cutting jigs. One does cuts up to 24 inches, and the other is a 48-inch track that you can do both rip and cross cuts with. All right, after quite a while of reading instructions and putting things together, I have the track saw or the track put together. This is by Kreg. I have my saw, the blades installed, if I can speak, blades installed, and I also have it on the sled that's going to cross here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a cut just for practice. This edge is a little beat up anyways. What's nice about this is that it has basically like a T-square type of attachment. And so this is going to go have a nice 90-degree perpendicular set up against this edge. And that way I can, when I cut, I know that I'll be cutting at the correct angle. And the only issue is I do have just maybe like a 28 tooth blade in there. The one that comes with it is more for doing like 2x4s or something like that. It's going to be a rougher cut. It's not like a nice finished cut. We're going to see how it cuts just new out of here. And if it's really bad, then I'll just go to Lowe's and pick up a new blade that I should have already gotten. But I'm going to try it now while I have everything out. And we'll see how this goes. It definitely was a process of trial and error at first. At first, when it started, I thought that, it was just kicking out sawdust. But then thankfully, I quickly realized, oh my goodness, that's smoke. So I stopped and wasn't sure why. And so I moved it over and tried it in another spot, and it did it again. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Because it was just the blade was causing, like, it was rubbing up against the plywood too much. It was causing friction, smoking, and burning the wood. Not good. Thankfully, as I looked at it and was pulling the trigger and checking it out, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm a dummy. I put this blade on going the wrong way. I thought that I knew which way I wanted the teeth to grab at the wood, but I did not realize that the circular saw spun in the way it did. So I made that adjustment pretty quickly, and then we were back in business. After doing some different measurements and calculations, I decided it was best to cut the width of the shelf this way. Plywood is expensive, so you want to make sure you utilize it the most efficiently as you can. So I'm just cutting it the width of the shelf, and then I can make 3 shelves out of this chunk, and then what's left, I'll cut one more that I need. Okay, so for these smaller cuts, I am going to try out this one, this Rip Cut jig by Kreg. It does, up to 24 inches, and I was a little hesitant to get it out because I was like, oh man, am I going to have to take this off the sled? I think that's the name of it, what that's called. But am I going to take that off and, go back and forth? But I opened it up, and it has the exact same one on there, so I can just switch it in between these 2 tracks, which is going to be great. So I'm going to get to kind of I'm going to make my measurement, and then I'm going to make sure that aligns with how this is showing on its ruler, because it has basically ruler here along along the track. and I'm going to see how those match up. Hopefully they match up perfectly and it'll be simple, but if not, then I'll just have to know what kind of adjustments to make or try to figure out how to make it match. All right, I've measured the 11 5/8 with my tape measure. And so let's see, like with line, it's going to be pretty close. I don't know how close my line is, honestly, with my blade. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like all right, it's pretty spot on. Looks like I need to go a little bit wider. I'm going to come in and show you. You can see here on this side that it lines up, but here it's going to take a little too much off, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit and hopefully get this cut. One thing I haven't talked about yet is what I have under the plywood. So that's just like a foam insulation board. It's the same size as a large sheet of plywood. It's 4x8. I think it was around $20. And basically you are just going to adjust your blade height to where it's going to cut all the way through the plywood and then just a little bit through that foam board. And this is just a nice, easy way to cut. You can put it all on the ground. You're not worried about it hitting the concrete, and it's just really nice and simple and pretty inexpensive way to support your board as you're cutting. Because you also, like if you were to put it on some sawhorses, as you cut it, the wood could start pinching your blade, and that can cause kickback. And this is going to, again, keep it all supported and be safer. This is the 60-tooth blade, and I can tell just how you see that edge versus like what's been kind of frayed on this edge. So definitely worth getting a better blade. It's like 20 bucks. All right, let's measure this. See if I got my 11 5/8. More like 11 1/2. I'm wondering. All right, I'm gonna have to kind of check that and see what I did there. I think what ended up being my issue was that there's this screw that helps secure the circular saw in place on the sled. And I think I had loosened some and shimmied some on me. So I'm still going to have to work on refining my accuracy with making these cuts, especially if I want to do something like cabinet boxes or something like that, where your cuts need to be very precise. But for this one, when you're building shelves, it didn't have to be perfect. It was a good first project with it. So remember how I said I had enough width to cut 3 shelves? And then I realized, wait a second, 4 fit. What's going on? 14 5/8. Oh my word. Stupid. Oh well. I thought that first shelf looked a little skinny because I was it was supposed to be 14 5/8, not 11 5/8. So I've just wasted all this plywood. Ah, darn. Well, sharing the good and the bad here. I'm gonna cut the rest of it, and I'll just save these. I'm sure I'll use it on a future project. Thankfully, I still had enough plywood left where I could cut the 4 shelves that I needed. So I got those cut again, and it went faster this time because it wasn't quite as much of a learning curve. So I guess on the bright side, I got a little more practice cutting. Next up, I headed back to Lowe's because for the front of the shelves, I wanted to add a piece of trim to make it, one, look like there was more depth to the shelf itself, and then also for there maybe to be like a rounded edge or something like that. That would give it a really nice finished look. So I settled on this one that I felt like had the look I was wanting and was reasonably priced. Once I was home with it, I got out my miter saw to cut them down to size. Anytime I'm working with a piece of wood, I always like to cut off the edge just to make sure that it's a nice 90-degree angle. It's not always perfect when you're bringing it home from the store, so I've seen other woodworkers do this, and so it's something I have done myself. My kids are often interested in what I'm up to when I'm in the garage, and this time my youngest daughter actually wanted to help, so it was a good chance to teach her about safety with different tools and how to use them, and so it was fun. So one of the things, I'll be able to see this as well with the angle, but I want to make sure that this does not like go below the edge here and be an issue with like just being level. And so if anything, I'm going to err on maybe overlapping a little bit, and I can just sand that and make it smooth, because I'm also going to be filling in this gap and sanding that smooth, so it'd just be real simple to take my orbital sander over it and smooth it out. And I've got my youngest daughter, who's going to help me with this too. All right, Dr. Bear, you ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Let me get this first one in, okay? All right, I'm gonna start here. Now you pull that trigger.
Right here?
Yeah, pull it. Well, no, sorry. Let me just do it. Right here.
Oh.
Good job.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, you gotta, I'll let you know, okay?
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Okay, now. And then we'll get the very edge. Okay, go. All right, the trim is on the edge of all of them. So now I'm going to go through, I'm going to start with 120 grit, sand all this trim down smooth flush with the shelf itself. And then I'll go up to 180 and 220, fill holes, get them all ready to be primed and then painted. Now that the prep work is all completed, I'm ready to prime. I am doing some test sprays first. It's always a good idea to do that to make sure your spray pattern is the way that you'd like it. I am using Gallery Series primer. I really, really like this primer. It goes on really smooth. I don't have to ever dilute it in my sprayer. And it also dries really quickly and sands well. It doesn't gum up on you like a lot of primers can. The paint sprayer I'm using is the Erlex 5700. It is made by Wagner. It's an upgrade from the Flexio sprayers that I have, but I have really, really loved it. I still use my Flexio 5000 from time to time, but I like that this has all metal parts, and it also just has a finer spray pattern than the Flexio. After the first coat of primer, you can see there's still a bit of a crack along the trim here, so I'm going to fill that with some more spot and glazing putty, do a light sand all over to smooth everything out, and then I'll get another coat of primer on here before flipping it over to the other side. For painting, I decided to rest them at an angle upright, just because I knew when I flipped it over with freshly painted paint, especially I'm using the emerald urethane trim line on this one, it's going to be a little tacky, and I just didn't want to make any marks from my little dollies that they would be resting on, and so that's why I did this. Then after 2 coats, they were all done. Now it's time for the fun part. I did let these sit for 2 weeks so that they would cure really well before I was placing anything on it. And here's the part I'm not super confident in. I have to do a lot of trial and error with any type of decor placement. And I, had an idea of several things that I wanted to keep up there because they were special to me, whether it was something owned by an aunt or a grandmother, or those roses there, those were dried from our wedding. And then there's a mixture of some new things as well. And there's paintings that my kiddos did, but getting it all up there and looking right is the hard part. What do you think? I did a little bit more switching around and finally settled on this setup, and I really loved it. Like I said, I really wanted to include things that I really loved, like that top picture my kid painted. That bowl on the left, the glass bowl, was a wedding gift from my husband's best friend's parents. That picture in the middle is the favorite of me and my daughters. And then the bouquet from my wedding that my mom so kindly dried out for me. The piece on the left was my late aunt's. It was something I always played with when I was at her house as a kid. And the little songbird was my grandmother's. And here are the other shelves with some favorite pictures and paintings by my kids. There is this one little weird nook that I need to try to find a basket to put in there, but overall, I really love how they turned out. It was a pretty simple project, and it did take some time, but it wasn't hard. I really hope that you enjoyed a different type of video. I know you're usually seeing my furniture videos if you've watched my videos before, but I also really love DIY, and I'm hoping to incorporate that here some in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. I'll catch you next time.